The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reports that over the past 24 hours, aviation, missile forces, and artillery of Ukrainian soldiers successfully attacked 7 areas of concentration of personnel and equipment, 1 drone control point, 3 artillery systems, and 2 other important targets of the Russian occupiers. The ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine remains intense, with Ukrainian forces standing strong against the Russian aggression. Over the past 24 hours, the Russian army lost 1,310 soldiers and more than 200 units of weapons and military equipment to the occupiers. It is noted that on May 9, 196 combat engagements between the defense forces of Ukraine and Russian invaders were recorded along the front line, with the majority of attacks concentrated in the Pokrovsk sector. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine said this. Russian forces launched 34 airstrikes on Ukrainian positions and settlements, deploying 69 guided bombs. In addition, they carried out over 4,100 attacks, including 35 strikes using multiple launch rocket systems, and deployed 2,174 kamikaze drones. Airstrikes targeted the settlements of Boyaro-Lezhachi, Doroshivka, Manukhivka, and Nova Sloboda in the Sumy region. Ukraine's aviation, missile forces, and artillery struck 7 areas where Russian personnel and equipment were concentrated, along with 1 UAV control center, 3 enemy artillery systems, and 2 other key Russian targets. In the Kharkiv sector, Russian forces stormed Ukrainian defensive positions near Vovchansk 6 times. In the Kupiansk sector, Russian troops launched 3 assaults. The defense forces successfully repelled enemy advances near Zarizhov and Novooleksandrivka. In the Lyman sector, Russian forces attempted to push forward 17 times, targeting areas near Lipov, Rytkadub, and Yampolivka, as well as advancing toward Rakivka, Novy Mir, and Zelene Pole. In the Siversk sector, the enemy carried out 8 attacks throughout the day, striking Ukrainian defensive positions near Myroliubivka, Hryhorivka, and Verkh Neokamyansk. In the Novotoretske sector, the enemy carried out 15 attacks near Dachne, Yelyzavetivka, Shcherbanivka, and Toretsk. In the Pokrovsk sector, Ukrainian defenders successfully repelled 65 Russian offensives in multiple areas, including Oleksandropil, Novotoretske, Kotlyne, Udachne, Novoleksandrivka, Nova Poltavka, Promin, Yelyzavetivka, Dachanske, Zvirove, Kotliarivka, Andriivka, Lysivka, Novoserhiivka, as well as in the direction of Muravka, Zoria, Myroliubivka, Malynivka, Novomykolaivka, and Troitsk. In the Novoserhiivka sector, Ukrainian defense forces repelled 31 attacks near the settlements of Bahadur, Konstantinopil, Odradne, Rivne, Novosilka, Vilne Pole, Privilne, and in the direction of Novopil, Shevchenko, Zelene Pole. In the operational zone of Russia's Kursk region, Ukrainian defense forces successfully repelled 19 Russian assaults. Additionally, the enemy launched 13 airstrikes, deploying 21 guided bombs, and carried out 316 artillery attacks targeting Ukrainian troop positions and settlements. Among these strikes, 1 involved multiple launch rocket systems.
In the more than 3 years since Kremlin dictator Putin ordered tanks into Ukraine, Russia has failed to break through from the Donetsk region, the epicenter of the war, into the neighboring Dnipropetrovsk region, which includes Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's hometown of Kryvyi Rih. But as May the 9th approaches, the Russian leader is desperate for a symbolic battlefield victory to hand to his people. The Times reports. His aim, Ukrainian military officials say, is to have Russian soldiers in the Dnipropetrovsk region by the time he takes to the podium in Red Square at any cost. According to Colonel Andrei Nazarenko, commander of the Unmanned Systems Battalion of the 72nd Brigade of Ukraine, being located just a few kilometers from the border of the regions. The Kremlin sacrifices hundreds of soldiers daily for this purpose. The enemy has sharply increased the pressure. Attacks around the clock, doing everything to reach the border, he emphasized. Nazarenko said that Russian troops use motorcycles and cars to move around the battlefield. This gives them greater maneuverability but makes the occupiers more vulnerable. They suffer huge losses but do not count them, he noted. Ukrainian troops claim that the same picture is observed throughout the Donetsk region. Everything is built on some kind of victory mania, so that their generals can report to Putin. We are so great, we did this, we took something. But not a single Russian soldier has ever been on the territory of the Dnipropetrovsk region, and we are doing everything possible to keep it that way, says Ilya Petrina, acting deputy commander of the 25th Airborne Brigade of Ukraine. In addition, the media reports that Russia's attempt to break through to the border has been accompanied by a sharp increase in shelling and drone attacks across the Donetsk region. The aftermath of Russian strikes is visible everywhere, from gaping holes in burnt-out residential buildings to black smoke rising into the sky over the strategically important city of Pokrovsk, almost completely destroyed by the Kremlin's indiscriminate strikes. However, even if Russian troops manage to cross the regional border, this will not be an immediate strategic breakthrough, but will have only symbolic significance for Putin, Ukrainian analysts and officials emphasize. This is just a line on the map, not a settlement or a river. It has no military meaning, said Viktor Tregubov, press secretary of the Khortytsa Operational Strategic Group.
A drone struck a government building in Russia's Belgorod region on May 9th, Victory Day, injuring 2 persons, including deputy governor. The video shared by regional governor Vyacheslav Gladkov on Telegram app showed the aftermath of the strike at 8:43 a.m. in Belgorod. A Ukrainian armed forces drone attacked the government building of the Belgorod region, Gladkov said, adding that emergency workers were at the site of the incident. Gladkov initially reported that there were no casualties but later clarified that 2 people were injured in the attack that was launched by an aircraft-type drone. A Russian guard officer suffered a shrapnel wound to the thigh and is hospitalized, Gladkov said. The deputy governor Alexander Lorenz was also near the building when the explosion occurred, Gladkov said. There have been no official reports from Ukraine over the incident. The attack on Belgorod took place on Victory Day parade held in Moscow to honor the Soviet Union's victory over Nazi Germany. Over 20 world leaders are attending the parade, in which over 11,500 troops marched. Earlier, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Kyiv could not guarantee the safety of foreign guests attending the military parade in Moscow and rejected the 3-day truce this week offered by Vladimir Putin.